If you're an attorney in the pursuit of a successful law practice, fulfilling career, and the life of your dreams, this podcast has it all. Behind the Bench gives you great tools to overcome the unique challenges you face every day as a law firm owner. Welcome to Behind the Bench podcast with your host, Josh Konigsberg, author, partner, and co-founder of Law Firm Marketing Pros and lifelong entrepreneur.
Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of Behind the Bench podcast. My name is Josh Konigsberg, partner, co-founder at Law Firm Marketing Pros, and your host today at Behind the Bench podcast. Today's guest, I'm super excited. Today's guest is an entrepreneur, public speaker, author, husband, father. He calls himself a godtrepreneur. He has a diverse entrepreneurial background in both profit and nonprofit startups. I welcome today to Behind the Bench podcast my friend Alex Miranda. He is co-founder of Virtrify, a staffing agency that helps businesses and law firms build virtual teams. They recruit and train bilingual professionals from Latin America for about 50% of the cost of hiring U.S.-based professionals. Welcome, Alex Miranda. Can you tell our audience a little bit about your diverse background?
Thank you, Josh, for having me. Wow, where do I start? Diverse background. Well, I'll just keep it on the entrepreneurial side. When I graduated Cornell in 2003, I started a branding agency. It's like my first real entrepreneurial venture. And in that, I discovered that I could source my graphic designers for my agency, that I could source them like from the Philippines. This was back in 2008. And web designers from India. And meanwhile, I was paying, guys, $25, $30 an hour here in my physical agency here in Miami. And when I uncovered that, it just blew my mind how you could build an entire company virtually, basically, the whole operations. And then my clients started asking me, how are you doing this, Alex? How are you? I know you're not paying, U.S. prices for these people. And really what they were asking me is, how can I do it for my business? And so that led to my other entrepreneurial venture, which was helping companies build virtual teams, essentially what I had done in my company. And it's been awesome, this entrepreneurial journey of the last 20 years, because as a branding and marketing guy and building virtual teams, I get to meet so many types of business owners. There's probably not a business out there that I haven't consulted on or helped out with some kind of branding or marketing. And that for me as an entrepreneur is gold, because you get to learn so much about different companies. It's really provided an amazing background for me as an entrepreneur.
I can tell you that I've seen your branding work, and it's absolutely tremendous, world-class. So, and that's how we met, and just tremendous job. So the inspiration to pursue the virtual staffing really was just your desire to help?
Yeah, it was, clients were asking me, and instead of just sending them a virtual assistant, actually, that's how I did. I was like, here, go to this website and find this person. The problem was, they didn't really know how to manage and train and onboard those people like I had, because I had years of experience doing it. And my clients would come back to me and say, Alex, it was terrible. I had a terrible experience. I'm never doing that again. And, that's when I was like, hold on a second. I can't just tell these guys to build a virtual team. I had to hold their hands along that journey. And holding their hands meant another revenue stream for me. And, as entrepreneurs, we're trying to build revenue streams, and we're trying to build, next step products for our clients and recurring revenue products. And that's where it all sort of hit for me. Like, man, I can create this brand. I can help these clients grow their companies because, a lot of times you do a brand or a marketing campaign for a company and it all goes to waste because they don't have the staff, they don't have the proper infrastructure, SOPs to actually execute on the work. So, I take people's money for their branding, but then a year later they're out of business or and I'm like, they have staffing issues. So really it was inspired, Josh, by me wanting to help my entrepreneurs grow their businesses. And the only way we can grow our businesses is through employees. It's the way it is.
We see some of that with law firms, and I know that you work with law firms as well. We'll take a deeper dive into that in just a couple of minutes. At what point did you make the decision that, hey, this is a business I want to pursue? I've got this branding agency. I've got a great team running that for me. So what was the launch point for Virtrify?
My desire to have a recurring revenue stream that didn't require my complete involvement. See, when I staff a remote worker, that worker is working for the client directly. And so the main part of what I was doing was recruiting, training, and then just managing that, holding that person accountable for their 20 or 40 hours, whatever the contract was. And so I could place a virtual manager, really, to manage that relationship. And I could add another revenue stream that almost feels passive for me as an entrepreneur. So I'm just giving you the business side of why I made that entrepreneurial decision, because staffing is an extremely lucrative business.
So we talked about focusing on professional services. For the legal industry, who's your ideal legal client?
Yeah, well, look, law firms they're turning to virtual teams to achieve cost effectiveness and strategically scale their operations and provide their attorneys with honestly better work-life balance. And a lot of law firms are doing this to remain competitive in this sort of rapidly changing legal environment. So virtual team building has been around since the 2000s, right? But I think law firms, they really started adopting this in the last 5 years or so because Latin America opened up as a source of employees. Before it was Philippines and India, but law firms weren't really going to employ people from that side of the world. But in Latin America, you have bilingual professionals in our time zone. So it made building virtual teams more accessible for law firms to scale and grow their operations. Josh, my ideal law client is a law firm that's proactive in marketing their services. They're investing a significant amount in advertising or outreach. So like talking personal injury guys, immigration practices, bankruptcy, family law. These are the guys that are really, investing in their marketing. And they recognize the importance of reaching the Hispanic population as well. That's a rapidly growing and underserved market. So we're really specializing in helping these forward-thinking law firms to build these efficient teams, including appointment setters and closers, to expertly handle the influx of inbound marketing leads. So by partnering with us, these legal practices not only streamline their operations, but they're also maximizing their outreach and their growth potential within the Hispanic community, which I think is an amazing community that a lot of law firms are starting to target.
I'll say this: it's not just the Hispanic community. Living in South Florida, I'm used to hearing an English-speaking Hispanic person with just a bit of an accent. So they speak perfect English, and they could be in Miami, but they could also maybe be in Bogota.
It's true.
And so, I've actually tested it myself and closed my eyes and just listened to see if I could hear the difference between someone from Latin America versus someone in Miami, and you cannot tell the difference. So they've done a great job in those countries teaching them how to speak English.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll add one more thing in what I see on a regular basis with our clients, and the need, that's why I wanted you on the show today, is the need for our clients. They're growing so fast because of the volume of business that we're driving to them that they can't keep up with the demand, and they need more staffing. And that's why I wanted you here today. So again, thanks again for being on the show.
Awesome.
So what is your USP? What's your unique selling point, and how do you position it?
Well, we're not just hiring remote workers. You're really getting a dedicated partner in your journey towards business growth and success. And, every client gets this account manager that's helping onboard and train and holding, members accountable for their hours worked. So, but we're also meeting with the business owners and really future planning their organization. And oftentimes this takes restructuring the company and bringing in new technology recommendations, reducing labor costs and streamlining operations, and ultimately helping those companies be more profitable. So, one thing I like to tell my clients is that we're process-based, not people-based. So that means that we're more focused on creating this onboarding and training and creating the SOPs so that they could scale the business and not be dependent on people, right? Because people come and go, but dependent on the process that can seamlessly bring someone into the machine and have them fully up and running within 30 days. That's who we truly are.
Brilliant. And sports, the analogy is next man up. Players get hurt, next man up. It's a system. So love it. So what motivates you to be successful and to win?
I want to permanently live in Disney World.
Is that a literal Disney World?
Oh no, yeah, Disney World. Like they have these houses in Disney, in this community is like $12 million houses plus, and they're in the Disney bubble, and yeah, that motivates me to be successful and to win because I just want to go there and I want to live there. That's where I want to live.
Well, you have 4 kids. So I know that you regularly go to Disney, right? So you're a Disney aficionado, right? I love that. So your motivation is to have a $12 million home. Is what
That's
you're
it.
saying.
That's it.
Okay. I love it. Okay. All right. So with that being said, I love the vision board. It's real easy. It's Mickey Mouse. With regard to challenges and solutions, what keeps you up at night?
Oh man. I've got all these visions for my company and, how the accounts should be managed, how we should market, how we should build this sales force. We're actually, Josh, we're actually building a physical sales force like ADP does, where you have like business people that go to BNI meetings and like, we're doing something groundbreaking there because we'll be the first virtual staffing agency with a physical workforce. And so I got all these visions, all these things I want to execute on. And what keeps me up at night is like, who's going to do this work? Because I can't do it all. Right. And so like, it's like, okay, the machine looks like this right now. I'm having entrepreneurial talk with you right now. So the machine looks like this, and this person is in charge of this, and this person, but man, do we need another person now? And what's beautiful, Josh, that I'm my own client. So like, let's say I want a director of sales for my company. I'm not going to go on Indeed and hire someone here in the US to be director of sales. I'm going to go to my company. I'm going to hire and recruit a director of sales, and I'm going to pay him Latin American money, but I have a director of sales.
Yes.
And so it keeps me up. My visions keep me up at night. My visions to just have a world-class organization with a world-class team. And who's going to do it? That's really the question. Who? Because it ain't going to be me, because I'm a true entrepreneur. There's people that own businesses, and then there's true entrepreneurs. And I'm a true entrepreneur, so my thought process is always, okay, this ain't going to be me. Who's going to do it?
So in EOS, that would be the visionary, and that you're 100% right. And many of the law firms that are listening to this are in the same situation. So many that I talk to don't want to be involved in the day-to-day actual managing of the cases, or they don't want to be in the day-to-day of running the business. So they're either one or the other. And most of them would just assume not even deal with the cases, run the business, but also have like a CEO or COO, and then have the rest of the team, as you're well aware. So with that being said, it's a great segue into my next question: is what are the key challenges that law firms face with regard to staffing? And you maybe have already touched on it. And how can these challenges be addressed?
Look, I think the number one challenge here is the one you just mentioned. If I think that there's lawyers and partners and that they really want to practice law. You know what I mean? They love that. That's where they find their passion and their purpose, and they don't really intend to sort of let that go. But I think that there's a whole group of entrepreneur lawyers, right? And I think those are the kinds of listening to a podcast like this because they're interested in the business side of growing the law firm. And the challenge is staffing. That's pretty much it. It's because who's going to do the work? Like, all right, you got all these leads coming in. You're attending masterminds. I'm just imagining myself being a law firm owner. You got all these masterminds, you got all this stuff, and you got all these leads coming in. Who's going to do it? So you need directors of this and directors of that. So staffing is a challenge, and I think making sure that there's money at the end as well for you to take home as a business owner. And so when you staff in a smart way, at 50% of what another law firm is charging, because another law firm isn't virtrifying their company, right? They're traditional, in-house. They got these employees that they're paying W-2s and healthcare, but you don't have all those costs. So you can spend a lot more of that money on marketing, right? You're shifting your budgets into marketing so you can market more and grow your business.
Or take more profit.
Or take more profit, right?
Can you share a specific law firm success story whereby you helped create freedom for the law firm, whether it's a multiple partner firm or an individual?
So I have a law firm here in Miami. It's a husband and a wife law firm. Now, she is also a professor at a law school. So, and these guys deal in the business law world. So, clients come in, HOAs need certain letters done. Certain people need certain contracts reviewed or certain statements or letters sent out. So she wasn't going to take care of it. They've got 3 kids together. And the lawyer, the husband, they're both lawyers. The husband is busy, obviously, doing, showing up to court and doing things like that. So they were getting stuck with a lot of admin work that was keeping her up at night, stressed out, staying up. And so, they asked me, how does this all work? They were really skeptical about someone in Latin America working for their firm. And we sort of eased them in and said, look, start with 20 hours a week with this person. Well, within 2 weeks, they bumped her up to 40 hours because they saw the light, right? It's a lot of people that don't do this. There's just fear of the unknown, right? And once you do it, though, and you realize that they are amazing people, they're bilingual, they're hard workers, very different than workers here in the U.S., hard workers. She is so delighted, and I'm in the WhatsApp chat because this is actually also a friend of mine. So I'm seeing the girl check in every day, and at the end of the day, she puts in her report, and so I know that they're happy. She tells me, Alex, this has been amazing. So it's truly awesome to see that work and that freedom come alive.
So what I've witnessed while working with people in Latin America, and even with some of the Filipinos, is they're so grateful to have not only just to have a job, but to be with a company that appreciates them. So there's a kind of a dual gratitude, and they have a career. Yeah. So switching over to trends and developments, what do you think the most significant trends or changes that you've seen within the legal space and staffing in the last couple of years?
I think a significant trend is that you can build an entire practice almost 100% virtually. You're not, I've had clients with law firms that take up 3 floors in an office building in Brickell. And I know it's crazy overhead. I just know it.
Right.
And what did COVID prove to us? That we didn't need that big, huge office in Brickell, and everyone could operate from home. Did technology need to change? Yes. Did IT have to come in and create, all these phone systems and all these Zooms and meetings? Yes. But I think COVID created that. So now law firms have this foundation to work remotely. It's there. They all set it up. They paid a bunch of money to set that up. So now that it's all set up, why are we still looking for employees here in the US, right? Let's keep the people here in the US, the high level, the top people, the people that are licensed and can only exist here in the US. And everyone else, let's build a virtual team. You need a virtual team leader, right? You still need someone to manage all those people. But that's what the office manager was doing at a big law firm, right? Office managers manage the office.
Administrator, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, this ability to create virtual teams is really what's completely changed the law practice industry.
So it's interesting because the combination of what you're doing and what we're doing at Law Firm Marketing Pros really helps them leverage this foundation that you're talking about that was really created from COVID. So they can leverage that to build the practice of their dreams, make more money, and have less stress.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So I'm so happy I invited you on for today. So really, again, thank you. So one more quick question, and then we're going to move to my favorite part, which is the lightning round, because that's where we get to know, like, and trust you. So any additional nuggets of wisdom or insight that you can share for attorneys who are looking to take their law firm to the next level?
The additional golden nugget that I want to let law firm entrepreneurs know is that it's very likely that you have another entrepreneurial idea. It's very likely that this law firm practice has spawned another idea, another entrepreneurial venture that you have. However, how can you execute on that when you have a law firm practice that you're growing as well? I executed on building my company, Virtrify, by first, because I had a branding agency that I was running at the same time, if you remember. I hired a CEO and a COO from Latin America to press play on my vision. See, entrepreneurs, now we have access to people in Latin America that we can pay $2,500 a month and tell them, here's my business idea. I've got resources, I've got money, I've got the vision. I need you to press play on it. You to be the CEO or COO. And you bring this vision to life. We have this now at our fingertips. We don't have to pay some crazy huge consultant over here or pay US prices for it. You can press play on your business ideas by hiring first that person that's going to bring that whole entire vision to life. We have access to that. And I don't think entrepreneurs even know this. I know it because I've been doing it. That's the golden nugget that I want to share to the law firm entrepreneurs. If you want to execute on that other business idea you have, you can do it.
It's gold, really. I mean, my mind is just spinning with what you have said. So that's absolute gold. So again, the lightning round is where I'm just going to ask you fire some questions off at you, just whatever your responses are. People will get to know you better. So what never fails to make you laugh?
The movie Coming to America. Man, I can watch it 100,000 times and I'll laugh every time.
Great movie. Best compliment you ever got?
Oh, man. When I come to pick up my kids after the gym at my parents' house, and my mom tells me, "Ay, Alejandro, you look so muscular. my wife doesn't tell me that, but my mom does, and it's my favorite compliment.
That's great. Well, I know you work real hard at the gym, so good for you. And you look great, by the way. So
thank you, brother.
Person you trade places with for a day.
You know, I'd like to see what Tony Robbins does in a day. He's on a mastermind day, not like a day where he's just chilling on vacation, like something where he's like masterminding with other people, you know, because he gets to chill with big dogs. So
right. Yeah.
World leaders. And so I'd like to, I don't know if I'd like him to actually be there. You know, I'd like to shadow him, but the question is trade places. I could do his job. I think I could do Tony's job.
Okay. Look out, Tony.
Oh, man.
So your guilty pleasure.
I like eating these rice cakes at night, and I'll throw on nut butter and whipped cream and strawberries, and I'll take that down at night. I love it.
That's great. Biggest risk you ever took?
I started an e-commerce business during COVID, and it made a bunch of money. But it was, was it highly risky? Whoa. Don't recommend it at all for those people with entrepreneurial ideas.
In an e-commerce business.
Yeah, it was tough. But yeah, it was super risky during COVID. China, you know, sending all the product over, and then there's the Chinese holiday, and so they can't send it, but you promised all these orders. It was just a mess.
Oh, yeah. Worst piece of advice you ever got?
Someone advised me that I should divorce my wife. I think it's just the worst advice. Instead of encouraging me and giving me ideas of how I could look within myself and see what I needed to change to show up differently, just tell me to divorce my wife. And so, needless to say, I left that counselor.
Yeah, right. Good for you, because I know that you're happily married, and you know, all relationships have their challenges, but you're happily married with 4 children. So God bless you, man. And I think that comes all into the whole entrepreneur thing as well. So something you wish you were better at dealing with?
I wish I was better at dealing with my wife.
Okay. All right.
Happily married. I think I'm wholly married. HOLY, wholly married. Because being married is a trying personal development journey. And so that's where I want to make improvements on is you know, dealing with the person who's here to make me better.
Love it. And that really is the answer to the next question, which is, maybe it's not, what is the one thing that you would like to change about yourself?
I want a 6-pack, bro. But man, does it take that next level. And I'm into personal development, Josh. You know I am. All right. And I go to CrossFit. I've been there for 13 years. The problem is, in order to get the 6-pack, you have to really change your diet. You have to go to another extreme level.
To stop your guilty pleasure.
I know. So that's the issue, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I have to change about myself.
Right.
Is eat, just be more meticulous about my eating. And I just haven't made that decision yet. Notice I throw in yet.
Love it. Yep. Love it. Okay. So what are you most passionate about?
I am most passionate about what the Bible has to say about being an entrepreneur. I have over 800 blog posts that I've written on my blog, Daily Godpreneur, because I'll read the Bible in the morning and a message will pop out at me about, you know, clients or marketing or sales or operations, and I will blog about it on my blog. And I've been doing that since 2014. It has transformed my life personally. But the fact that I get to share that with other entrepreneurs and get messages on my LinkedIn and Instagram saying, you know, hey, thank you so much for what you do. You know, I don't get paid to do that, but that's what passions are. They're things you love and you want to do that aren't there because you get paid for it, but it's because you feel a calling to do it.
Love it. Love it. And last question is, tell us something that most people don't know about you.
Most people don't know that I was born in Landstuhl, Germany. This is where my dad was stationed. When he left Puerto Rico, they stationed him in Germany, along with hundreds of thousands of other servicemen in the 80s, 70s, and 80s that were sent to Germany. And so I got to be born in Germany, even though I don't know German. I don't have a passport from Germany, but most people don't know I was born in Germany.
Wow, very cool. Well, that's a wrap for today's podcast. I want to thank Alex Miranda from Virtrify. So much appreciated having you on today. Josh Konigsberg, Law Firm Marketing Pros, signing off from Behind the Bench podcast. Until next time, bye for now.
Thanks for listening to another fabulous episode of Behind the Bench. I hope you take action on some insight and tips you learned today. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share.